Good morning, everyone. It is 9 a.m. on this Thursday morning. Thanks for watching Daybreak Plus on our streaming app, WGRZ+. This is a weather impact alert day. Patrick, you told us yesterday that the weather and the morning commute was going to be pretty nasty, and you were right. What we're looking at right now is a crash on the 400 South, just beyond Union Road in West Seneca. The left lane is closed there, and you can see that it's really foggy there, too. Now, just into the newsroom, we just learned that on the 90 East, right before the 400, so that's a very busy area, there's a 3-vehicle accident. So that is going to block things there. Really foggy on this camera, too. And this is Grand Island. This is right by Beaver Island Parkway. Again, foggy up there. So foggy down in the South Towns, foggy up in the North Towns. Tonawanda Creek Road at Lakewood. There is a 2-vehicle injury accident there. And then also on the 219 South, there's a crash at Armour Duels. There's a car off the road. The left lane is blocked. Traffic is very slow moving there. Some good news, the 86 westbound around Salamanca, that was closed because of a jackknife tractor trailer. That has just reopened. So we are far beyond right now, Patrick, the morning commute, the busiest time, but still there are a lot of issues out there.
Yeah, well, the glaze of ice has been laid down. It's not falling anymore. There's still a little freezing drizzle and some fog, but the freezing rain that we had this morning, that has come to an end, but it doesn't take much.
No.
It fell. It was weird. I mean, it was raining and it's like 24 degrees.
Right. The treated roadways, most of them became slush, but all it takes is one person going off the road or one person spinning out that really is going to mess up the morning commute for everyone. But really, the roads weren't the only issue either. It's the parking lots. And first of all, you walked out to your car and it was covered in a sheet of ice. So you had to make sure that you were scraping everything this morning or letting, the car warm up and get the ice off the windshield. But walking around in heels.
I know. I was going to wear those too.
I know.
But the heel, I don't do well
Well,
in
you would
heels.
think that the stilettos would crunch into,
right.
into the ice.
Like mountain climbing shoes, right?
Exactly. But I would definitely suggest wearing boots with something grippy outside if you're walking around a driveway, parking lot, and sidewalks.
And Kevin, who's going to join us in a minute from the roof, will explain what it was like driving in this stuff today.
And some of the science behind it too, because you'd think if it's 22 degrees outside, why isn't it just snow?
Yeah.
And it's much more complicated than that.
I've got the most rudimentary of rudimentary graphics, pretty much drawn with crayons, or crayons as you call them. Kevin doesn't know I made the graphic, so I'm going to quickly explain it, but then he's going to go more in detail of what the difference is between freezing rain, sleet, and snow.
Okay.
But by the way, it's coming to an end,
okay.
The freezing rain. It's going to get windy this afternoon, so that's a thing. And then more snow is coming later this weekend, Saturday night into Sunday.
Okay, let's talk about all of that. Thank you.
All right, so here we go. The freezing rain, the steady freezing rain has moved out, but there's still going to be areas of freezing drizzle and some fog out there, lower visibilities. But again, the good news is additional freezing rain should be held to a minimum outside of a little bit of drizzle. There we go. Not much coming up from Pennsylvania, so that's a good thing. Okay, Melissa, what do you think?
It was done in crayon.
Okay, think of it this way.
What are we looking at?
I wanted to talk to the people. I didn't want to have some scientific-y, this is just like abacus stuff. Basically,
I think Elliot made this graphic.
You have cold air down low, warm air up high. If the layer of cold air is very shallow, the precipitation will fall as rain and it will stay as rain. If it falls as rain and then goes into a sub-freezing level, it will refreeze, and that's called freezing rain. If the column of cold air is a little deeper, it's sleet, and then eventually it's enough cold air that the snowflake just continues to fall as snow all the way down to the surface. So if that makes sense, it's basically warm air where your head is, cold air where your feet are, and the depth of that is what delineates precipitation type. Kevin will go more into this coming up. All right. You didn't like the graphic, Melissa.
Loved it. It's very endearing and it's very you.
Okay. Temperature. Yeah. I don't get very fancy with graphics. It's the limit of my artistic ability. Okay, temperatures finally going above freezing at about 10 o'clock, and that's when the glaze will begin to melt, but it's still going to be icy until then. Wind picks up tonight. Notice some snow moves through between, let's say, midnight and 2 a.m. Most of us will sleep through it, but there will be a little area of snow. And then temperatures tomorrow much, much colder with numbers into the 20s and a breeze for sure. All right, the next system we're watching, we'll talk about in a second. Additional ice, it's pretty much done. Wind speeds, though, notice 5:30, we begin to ramp up with winds approaching 50 miles an hour in gusts. Most areas, though, will be in the 30 to 40 mile an hour gust range. That continues into tomorrow morning, and then it looks like we'll see that come to an end. And then on Saturday, 4 o'clock, the possibility of light snow moving in, and then as it heads into the middle part of the Saturday night, the snow really ramps up, so it could become some steady snow here. Into early Sunday, the accumulating snows will be wrapped up pretty early, though, Sunday morning. So cloudy, freezing rain ending, southwest winds gusting to 25 up to 45 miles an hour tonight. Cloudy, still a weather impact alert because of the icy roads. Friday looks dry. Saturday, snow develops late, as I mentioned, into early Sunday. And then perhaps Buffalo South, we're swiped with a little snow later on Tuesday. For the south towns in the southern tier, similar deal. Snow for the weekend, and then possibly again on Tuesday. Am I sending things to Kevin? Kevin, how are you, buddy?
Doing great, man. Look what I could do. It's pretty cool. Watch this, guys. I think we all did this at the bus stop, maybe.
I can't see you. Oh.
Awesome.
Are you serious? That's
Oh, yeah.
What do you do?
I wish we had a full shot. Can we get a wider shot? Probably not. Well, yeah, I'm just sliding right by. We all did this at the bus stop or something, right?
But you're on a roof. Don't do that on a roof. Mom mode right now.
I am A-okay. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Look at that. I did a double axle accidentally coming up here. It's pretty neat. But all kidding aside, this freezing rain has caused issues for the commute. I joked, half jokingly really, that the most dangerous part of your commute might be the walk to the car. It's because of stuff like I'll put the microphone down. Oh yeah, just terrific. Nailed it. But again, in the precipitation type, I don't need the graphics. I'm going to explain everything in balloons and cake. Are you ready for this? Balloon is a hot air balloon. Okay, now typically if you're in a hot air balloon, as you lift up and go to the clouds, which is way too high for a hot air balloon, but the air will cool as you float away. But today there's an inversion in place, so it is warmer aloft. It is warmer up there than it is down here by us. My other analogy would be a 3-layer cake. Put things in, and I often think of 3-layer cakes, but this time around, the top layer of the cake is cloud level. The bottom layer of the cake is ground level. The middle of the cake, the middle layer of the cake will be the mid-level of the lower atmosphere, and the mid-level of the cake is warmer than the freezing temperatures up here and the freezing temperatures down here. And that changes the precipitation type. So what did we have today? Forming as snow. The hydrometers, the frozen fractals, falling through a melting layer and either melting or partially melting, and then getting to a freezing layer at the boundary layer where we live. And if it freezes completely, it's sleet. That pelletized rain. The raindrops, it was snow and then rain, and then it pelletized into like a little pebble, which is sleet. Or it stays as rain, and now these super cool droplets will freeze on impact, freeze on contact. And that's what happened. Glazed donuts are great. Glazed driveways, not so much. And we had that all across western New York. A lot of heads up. Winter weather advisory from the National Weather Service. Weather impact alert from your buddies at Storm Team 2. So everybody got a heads up that it's going to be slippery. And I drove around this morning in the storm tracker and the Thruway did great. The 219 looked okay as well. Route 5 was okay as well. And part of that was, of course, the traffic and the cars itself, but it was the preparation, putting the salt down. But I could just taking a look at the side streets and the driveways and the exterior steps where people could wipe out. I noticed it, again, it's the winter walking skills. I'm slipping and sliding right here, and but I could see it coming. but when you don't see it coming, that first step out this morning could have been a treacherous one for people. Again, accidents across Western New York, and then it is often the ramps, guys. Even if you're sort of driving, you feel comfortable driving 45 miles an hour on the 290, guys, it's the ramps, which are untreated enough and elevated where that icing can really take hold, and you got fellow Western New Yorkers spinning out doing that 180. So again, the precipitation type, thankfully, everything's sort of moved eastward to us now. It's just a matter of warming and recovering and dealing with it, but we got this.
Yeah, we got this, and you've got a really good ice rink up there on the roof. Thanks for that explanation, Kevin. But Patrick, we were talking here, again, freezing rain and what was I saying?
Sleet.
Sleet, grauple, all different
Different
things.
types, yeah. But yeah, as Kevin mentioned, freezing rain comes down as a liquid. Sleet comes down as frozen. But it's just how much of it is melted on the way down. But it's freezing rain is the worst of weather. I mean, it's like the worst because it provides no benefit. There's nothing good about freezing rain.
And that's what we had this morning.
And that's what we had this morning. And in
But
bad.
it was really funny in Daybreak. I mean, you were literally leaving the studio to look outside because it was just changing from minute to minute.
It went from snow to sleet to freezing rain. In big ice storms, you can get down power lines and down trees. It can be horrific. Ice is like so luckily, and we didn't think it would be a lot of ice today. The ice collection or accumulation was minimal, but you can get like 1 inch of ice, 2 inches of ice, and that's what shuts power grids down.
Right. I went out to my car to see if I could do that thing that always goes viral where you roll down
I tried
the
to do it
window
too,
and then punch
but
through.
it
came down with the window. The ice did.
I tried to do that.
You're like my spirit animal. We tried to do that.
And then I was like, I want to be the first to do it,
Right.
and then it didn't.
But it didn't work because the layer was too thin. It needed to be a little bit thicker.
Exactly.
Okay, but the worst is over right now, and now we have to expect the wind. By the way, I'm going to give you a little pat on the back right now. You called this yesterday, early on. You're like, it's going to be a calm day today, but get ready for the morning commute tomorrow. It's going to be a tricky one. And that's exactly what happened.
It's a Storm Team 2 brain trust. The 4 weather brains get together, and we all, Kevin, Jen, and
Come here, brain trust.
And
Come
Paul,
here.
See this
Group
guy?
hug.
Group hug.
I can't believe
We're
you
a team effort.
Dude,
It's quite a brain trust.
I was freaking out with you sliding on the roof like that.
We're fine.
Dude, I broke ribs
he gets
4
hurt.
months ago.
It's all
So
right.
I got so nervous.
It's okay. There were no rowing machines up there.
I think it's good.
All right. Where's the men's room? This way?
Bye.
See you later. Hey, by the way, do you know what today's the anniversary of?
No.
The earthquake. Remember the earthquake that
we should have
happened?
pulled up that video.
I just saw a reminder. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow, reflecting on the day before. But this was when an earthquake
During daybreak.
During daybreak happened. We were in video, so you didn't see but you could hear our reaction.
But you could hear our reaction.
It was this boom.
Yep.
And it was like, oh my God, what, a car exploded, it was terrible.
And so we thought something actually hit the building.
Yes.
Pete and you and me on air at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and I had a sense, I'm like, it could have been an earthquake, but
you didn't think it was because you've lived through
I've lived through many of them out in the West Coast. This was different, and it wasn't until I got a text from my daughter in Hamburg who said, Dad, did you feel that?
And I got a text from Elliot in Amherst.
And that's when we
down
knew.
in Hamburg, in Amherst, here in Buffalo, we all felt it. And so throughout the morning on Daybreak, we were figuring it out. What's the magnitude? How long did it last? Were there any injuries? Was there any damage? It was incredible to see that play out. Come back, use my microphone.
I gotta tell you the story. You know you're from Buffalo, and my first thought was that a snowplow?
Yeah, right.
Anyway,
right. That's what or a snowplow, crashed into the building. That's how it sounded.
And wasn't there an earthquake earlier in the morning that we were covering across?
Oh, we were covering an earthquake
somewhere in
else.
Indonesia or
it was a foreign earthquake that was really devastating.
Right.
I can't remember which one, but then this one happened here, and then we got it, and it was great, and we were able to talk to I said that feels like about a 3.4, and it was kind of close to that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And it was really great having your insight into that earthquake because you have, growing up in San Francisco, you've experienced, but you describe them as more rolling kind of, and they would take a few seconds.
It would take 20 to 30 seconds. This was like
just a boom.
It was just it was an earthquake. as we move on, and not to dwell on this, but it was unlike any earthquake I've ever felt. That's
right.
for sure.
I have that video. We'll have to look back
Well,
on it.
a year ago today.
Yeah, it's too bad that we weren't actually visible on, because
I
Pete
know.
and I looked at each other and with that big noise, and then your reaction too, and so that was, you know, in this business, you certainly never want anyone to get hurt or have any damage, but living through something like that and having it develop as we're on air presenting the news and trying to give the most updated information to viewers who everyone was tuning in to find out what was that.
Right.
So we even look back at the ratings to find out how many people are watching throughout the morning, and seeing right after that how many people turned on Channel 2 to tune into you and to tune into Daybreak and find out what just happened.
Right.
It was really fascinating, and it was really exciting for us to be able to be part of that with all of you and to share this experience and to figure out what was happening in Western New York.
So I went a little off script there. Sorry.
Right.
I just brought that.
That was a year ago today.
Back to our regular.
And there's a
programming.
lot that we were covering this morning too
Yes.
on Daybreak. Switching to some really serious news right now out of Batavia. We're still working to get more information about a really bad house fire there. We know it happened around 1 o'clock in the morning on Vine Street. This is video that our photographer shot at the scene. It's a multi-level apartment house, and so the fire broke out on the second floor, and we are learning that 3 children had to be rescued, one of whom was seen by our photojournalist as being unresponsive as he or she was put into the ambulance and taken to the hospital. So we do not know the condition of that child or of the other 2, if there were adults home at the time. But again, this was 1 o'clock in the morning that this happened. And I just called Batavia Police to try to find out if they could give me an update. And they said that the investigation is still ongoing. They're not ready to put out a press release yet or give any information to the media, but we will certainly be making calls, and we'll bring you the most updated information about that coming up at 11 o'clock this morning on Channel 2 News Midday. Other stories that we're working on today: the Double Apple Supermarket on Bailey Avenue now says that it's going to take a stand on public health, particularly for people in that community there, the African American community. And the supermarket says it will now refuse to sell any tobacco or any alcohol. They're partnering with No Menthol Buffalo to give a presentation on why they're choosing to do this. That presentation's happening in about 45 minutes, and we will have a crew there, and we'll bring you those updates throughout the day. And an event to help local students expand their awareness of some environmental issues. The 2025 Environmental Ambassador Summit is happening on East Park Drive in Tonawanda. Several environmental organizations will be on site to provide some education, career information, and opportunities. That's scheduled to start at 9:30 this morning. We're going to have a crew there too, asking students about why this type of event is important to them. And also happening later tonight, Bills Mafia. You've been manifesting it all season long. Can you hear those chants? That's the MVP chant for Josh Allen. I actually took that video with my own phone. We hear the MVP chants at every game at Highmark Stadium this year, and tonight we will finally learn if Josh Allen will actually get that honor that so many people think he deserves. He's in the running for NFL MVP along with 4 other players: Saquon Barkley, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Jared Goff. Bills offensive coordinator Joe Brady is a finalist for Assistant Coach of the Year. For the second year in a row, Damar Hamlin's in the running for Comeback Player of the Year. A lot of people thought he should have gotten that last year. And Deion Dawkins is the Bills nominee for Walter Payton Man of the Year. We'll see if he gets that recognition. The awards get underway at 9 o'clock tonight. Thoughts?
Josh certainly should be in the running. You just can't argue against Lamar's numbers.
Lamar's numbers are better.
Yeah, it's just, but then is there fatigue? He's gotten it 2 years in a row, or is it
3. This would be 3.
And it's like, should this be spread out? His numbers were insane.
Yes, but Lamar also has
Yes.
a team of incredible players who have also been nominated for big awards, and Josh has done so much on his own this year.
Right, and he's what he's also done has elevated everybody else.
Yeah.
Do you think Shakir would be Shakir with another quarterback.
Right.
I mean, I think he's elevated him.
He's made other players so much better around him. That MVP chant, the video that I had there, that was the game, that was the Chiefs game where Josh made that unbelievable run to get the touchdown that Jim Nantz said, this is the play of the year.
Right.
Josh does things that no quarterback should ever be able to do, and he just makes it happen.
It'll be interesting. I mean,
yeah. And that voting happened before the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I like that they do that.
Yeah, because you could have a good or poor playoff performance, and you don't want it to tarnish the rest of the year. But yeah, tonight.
Tonight at 9 o'clock, and so we will have reaction, good or bad, and bring you that on Daybreak tomorrow. Also, of what social media is saying after all of those awards are announced tonight. Today marks 1 year to go before the opening ceremony of the 2026 Winter Olympics in Milan and Cortina, Italy, 2 host cities. And right now there are celebrations in those host cities. And Matt Renew with our sister station KUSA out of Denver was in Milan this morning, and we chatted with him on Daybreak, and he gave us a look at what's going on.
From Milan, Italy, and I'll tell you the reason is one, because they wanted to do something that hadn't been done before, and two, they were looking, the organizers of 2026 Winter Olympics, they were looking to try to showcase as much of northern Italy as they could in having an Olympics in the cosmopolitan city of Milan, as well as the beautiful Italian Alps of Cortina and those beautiful Dolomite Mountains that are up there. And so the idea was to showcase the mountain regions as well as the city regions and bring those together while using as many existing venues as they could, so they didn't have to build a whole lot of infrastructure for these Olympics.
The only thing that would make me more jealous is if you were sitting in a cafe sipping a cappuccino. But Matt, what are you hearing about opening ceremonies?
I tell you, Pete, don't think I'm not running over there, by the way, to grab a cappuccino in between our live shots with all the sister stations that we're doing. I'll tell you, opening ceremony is going to be spectacular. It's in San Siro Stadium here in Milan, which is an iconic venue for soccer and concerts. It's been around for 100 years, and they keep doing renovations on it, building it up bigger and bigger. Now it's 80,000 seats, so they're going to have that in San Siro, and something they've never tried with an opening ceremony before, because these Olympics are so spread out over northern Italy. They're involving Cortina as well as other cities in the mountains that are having events and venues during these Olympics. And so there's going to be an opening ceremony here in Milan, but then live they'll remotely bring in all of these other sister cities to participate in the opening ceremony. And so that's a first, and I think will be pretty spectacular to see.
Okay, you're giving us such useful information. I have very basic questions right now. A, what time is it in Milan right now? And B, what is that beautiful church behind you?
The time first, Jeff, what time is it right now? It's 4 o'clock, maybe 4?
Right now?
Yeah.
It's 12:40 here.
Oh, 12:40. I'm way ahead of myself. It's 12:40 in the afternoon. So it's lunchtime, and so it's lunchtime. And then the beautiful church behind me is the cathedral in Milan. And this is one of the most spectacular sights you're going to see in the world. It's certainly the thing that Milan is maybe most known for. It's the largest tourist attraction. They started building this church back in 1386. Wow. It took 600 years to build it. They didn't finish until 1965. There are 135 spires up there, more than 3,000 statues, and there's actually some damage on the front of it from World War II during the fighting that they left on there as a reminder to stay peaceful and not go back to war. And so this is one of the most spectacular things. You can tour inside of it and actually go up onto the roof, and the view up there is definitely something you have to see if you're ever in Milan.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Matt Renaud, reporting live from Italy. Arrivederci.
Pete sounded so good saying that. Arrivederci.
I was looking up ski lift tickets at Cortina. And it's considered one of the most expensive ski resorts in the Alps, but I must have been reading it wrong. It showed $89, which is...
Is that in euro?
No, it was the euro and the dollar are pretty similar.
Are they?
But I can't be right, because a ticket like at Vail or an Aspen is like over $200
Sure.
for one day for one person. So anyway, sorry, I digress. It just is such a beautiful place. I would love to be there.
Yeah.
In Milan or skiing, of course.
The Alps. I mean, I can't imagine how beautiful that's going to be to see the skiing in the Alps. It's been a long time since there's been Winter Olympics in.
Yeah. Well, no, it was there was a Winter Olympics in Italy a couple years ago, wasn't there?
Turin?
Yes. Yeah. Nice recall.
Thank you.
Wasn't that?
I don't know how. I can't remember what year that was though.
I thought that was a Winter Olympics. Okay.
This is
We'll
check it out.
Stream of consciousness coming out here.
Welcome to the 9 a.m. streaming newscast, folks. Okay. Oh, 06 was Turin.
Okay, so it wasn't that long ago.
It was 20 years ago.
18 years ago.
Okay.
18.
Okay. Let's talk about the weather.
Oh,
again.
I'm over here
How's
now.
skiing here in Western New York?
It's
Kissing
good.
Bridge and Holiday Valley, and
They're having very good seasons. You know, if you're skiing today, it's going to be a little crusty. That's for sure. Given that there has been a layer of ice out there. In fact, what I'm going to do.
yeah, this has got to be actually probably terrible skiing weather right now.
Well,
right?
yeah, but that'll give way to. Stand by as I pull something up here. That'll be. We can see actually what it looks like there. Stand by, and give me a second here. And we will see. Oh, this is riveting. I want you to see. We're going to go to Holiday Valley.
Are you going to draw us another graphic?
It takes a second to load. Okay. So coming up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Come on.
It's not of all days.
Look, it looks like a mountain with
Imagine this.
snow behind you.
Okay, well, it's not coming up. Anyway, I was trying to get the Holiday Valley camera. Oh, you know what? It's probably frozen over. That's why.
Oh.
Can't see it. All right, freezing rain ending, windy this afternoon and into the night. Yeah, we have a great camera that looks down Mardi Gras. It's beautiful at Holiday Valley, but clearly it's frozen. All right, snow late on Saturday. So as we mentioned earlier, the freezing rain has ended, but there still could be a little freezing drizzle as temperatures are climbing into the upper 20s, soon to be into the low to mid 30s as we head into the afternoon. So that is drying out and not much more coming our way. Here's future look. Again, maybe a little drizzle or a little raindrop possible as temperatures climb above freezing. 6:30, we're in the mid 30s. A little area of snow comes through overnight, and that will lead to a little burst of snow between midnight and let's say 2 a.m. And then it's still breezy with temperatures falling into the 20s. Wind chills will be in the single digits, okay? And the wind will be elevated tonight as well with wind speeds 40 to maybe even 50 miles an hour in spots. So there we go, later Saturday night into early Sunday. That's our next area of snow, our time frame for snow. Also some light snow possible on Tuesday for Buffalo South. We'll get swiped by a little system for that day. But again, icy this morning into the, that should come to an end, and the glaze should begin to melt. And there's the snow later Saturday, mostly Saturday night and into early Sunday.
Okay.
Sorry, I couldn't get that picture up.
Oh, that's okay. So, so ski resorts are
they're
going to be fine.
Yeah, they're going to be fine. I mean, just a little rain or freezing rain doesn't hurt. It's just kind of a little crusty.
One of our favorite words that we say is shovelable.
Shovelable.
But it's plowable snow this weekend.
Well, I think shovel and plowable. It means it's enough where you may need to take action. Okay, so it's not a big storm, but there will be some widespread snow Saturday night.
Widespread snow.
And it's not lake effect. It's like
right. What's going on with the lake?
It is there. Oh, you mean with ice? What's going on with the lake? Well, let's ask. The ice cover on the lake, I don't know. I think it's around 75%.
Okay.
I got to check that.
All right, we'll check because that'll affect the lake effect snow. This is the 400 right now. We are still seeing foggy conditions right there. I'm checking right now with the email of all the alerts that I get of what roads are closed and whatnot. And so the 400 south beyond Union, in West Seneca, there was a crash there. That has been cleared, so that should be opening up. Still foggy conditions up in Grand Island as well. And we do know that there was a 3-vehicle crash. I'm pulling up the information about that at the 90 East right before the 400. That happened just before 9 o'clock this morning, so give yourself some extra time around there. Tonawanda Creek Road, there was a 2-vehicle injury accident. 219 South at Armored Duels, there was a car off the road. So luckily, you know, the morning commute is easing up a little bit. Conditions should be easing up throughout the morning as well.
Yeah.
The worst is over. Commute home should be fine, right?
It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be certainly better than today.
Okay. And again, be careful in parking lots, sidewalks, driveways. That will be treacherous throughout the day as well. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.